Wow, you're doing a documentary on old Volvos? I'm curious.
Yeah, I have a 240 wagon 86, and I've had it for a couple years, and I love it. Arriving in Santa Cruz, I've just seen so many of them around, and I thought it'd be interesting just to like do a documentary on this car and like why so many people have it.
Yeah, well, I just told you the reason. It's all because of Mel Kinder. So, mechanic that works only on 240s, and everybody in this community has a 240 knows this man, and we all go to him. And he's 80 now, and so everybody has a Volvo 240 because of Mel Kinder. M-E-L, first name, Kinder, K-I-N-D-E-R. When my kids were little, everyone said you should get a Volvo because they're safe. And then when I talked around about Volvos, everyone said, well, you got to get the 240 because that's the cars Mel will work on. So he is a Volvo 240 guru, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one that refers to him as the Volvo guru.
This actually was my great-grandmother's car, and it's a 61, but she got it, I think she got it used in about 63, and she drove it for about 10 years, I think, and then my grandfather had it after that, and then he gave it to me in 1989, so I've had it that long. So this was my college car, drove it around, it was great, and and it's a family car. I think now I either need to, buckle down, get it running, and drive it regularly, or find somebody else who's going to love it. It has plenty of miles. I really love the shape of the old Volvos, just the design and everything. The round headlights, the split grille. This car has a choke, so starting it up, you got to pull the choke, you got to let it warm up, you ease it in. It was just my college car, it was what we drove around in. Sharing it with my brother when we first got it, it was both of ours, and then he moved on and didn't care as much. But we were driving up Highway 1 with his girlfriend and his friend, and suddenly the car just sounded terrible, and we're going up a hill, and it's not going to make it. And we pull over, and we pop the hood, and none of us are mechanically inclined, and we're just staring at the engine and staring at the engine. And his girlfriend finally points that maybe that's wrong, and one of the spark plugs was laying on the engine block. Popped it back in, started back up, and drove away. Everything was great. The old Volvos, the engines are just amazing. So they just keep going. If you have an old Volvo, Mel's the guy. He lives up in the Redwoods, and he's your old-timey mechanic. He's got a couple of mean dogs, and that's about as far as it goes.
Well, currently, this is kind of a relatively new Volvo 240 for me. I'm driving a 1990 gold station wagon. It's my fourth Volvo 240 and my fourth Volvo station wagon. I wouldn't drive a sedan. They're great. The back seats go down flat. You can make a whole bedroom in the back if you want to lie down like that. But after a while, because I used to do that, that's a lot of hassle, changing it around and moving everything. I just like climb in the back seat and I have lots of pillows and blankets, and my Volvo becomes like my traveling bedroom. Went from an 88 to a 93 to an 86, which was the best one, and now I have a 90. And then back to an automatic. But the truth be told, I got arthritis in my left knee when I had that 86. The clutch was very, very heavy. You might have attributed to my getting the arthritis. And when I finally made the connection, I realized I shouldn't drive it anymore. And I didn't know how I was ever going to let go of it because I loved it. And it was it's a powerhouse. And I loved having a big, heavy car that I could drive like a race car driver. They worked really well. And yeah, it got crunched. So I feel like the universe said, you weren't supposed to drive this anymore. You figured it out. You weren't going to get rid of it. Both my kids have driven their first cars have been Volvos, so kind of a Volvo family thing. I know, well, they all have names. Vivian the Vivacious. So that was my first one, Vivian the Vivacious, because she was so full of, and then Vanessa the Victorious. I had to give her a name so she would continue on her way. Mm-hmm. And after that, she didn't give me problems. I went from like thinking he was some curmudgeon, that's what I called him, realizing like Mel is definitely some secret guy, because When I had some issue and it wasn't like an emergency and I could call and wait weeks, sometimes I wouldn't hear from them for a month or so. But then if my car broke down and like the tow truck's coming and I need to know exactly what to do or where to tow my car, and I give him a call and he would answer. So I never really understand the mystery behind Mel Kinder.
My name's Mel Kinder, and I'm almost 81 years old, and I was born in Los Angeles.
Tower of Tools.
Lived in various spots in California, and came to Santa Cruz in 1969. And after teaching for 3.5, 4 years, I decided to earn a living by working on cars, something I did in high school.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And,
Kelly bought this car.
I've been doing it ever since. I've occasionally worked for other people, probably since 19... let's see, probably... I had friends in 1989. I've been working by myself, for myself, without any great amount of equipment, no lifts or anything like that. So I work on the ground. I think we call it shade tree
The
mechanics.
Lancia grill there.
Is there any reason in particular you like Volvos? Or?
Well, they're easy to work on. They bite less. You know what I'm saying? You know, I have very few scars from working on them. I had a truck fall on me one time. Luckily, somebody was here to leverage that axle off my stomach. You know.
Have your kids sort of followed in your footsteps at all with the car love or interest in fixing them up?
Well, my daughter, my son-in-law, graduated to being a full-time Volvo mechanic. I got my first straight job in a little shop downtown Santa Cruz. Why do people want cars that are that old? You know, realize how old these cars are? I mean, it just blows my mind. I think about it, you know. These cars are 40 years old, 35, 40 years old. I have some that are 50 years old that I work on.
But this woman told me who has
work on
this
a car that
for
you work on a car
she
that
rebuilds them all the time for people. And I said, you have to show me your technique.
customer loves.
I've never been able to do it. They're simple cars, as opposed to.
How can you get sentimental about that? Kind of hard to. Well, about 1.5 years, and I haven't hardly used it because I have a big, you know, heavy-duty one, and it died. Just died. So I pulled this out, and it's a trickle charger essentially. It's not a heavy-duty high-end. I'm sorry, I didn't bring you any. Yeah, this car belonged to a guy who lived up in Mount Shasta.
I don't know. I was biking home and I was just thinking about like what else we did and and I was like, oh, we played with the pomelos and then we did that big wind up, you know, and it was a big wind up and we were so ready for it, and then all of a sudden it falls and it's like, oh, okay. Like, it was satisfying, but it was not what we expected.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's.
I wanted splat.
I wanted
hardcore splat.
But like that just mirrors perfectly what happened. I don't know. Like it was going. We were doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh.
There it is. Yeah,
there it is. My friend has a Volvo, and he bought a Volvo because I bought a Volvo. And I bought a Volvo because my dad had a Volvo. And like, I also just love old cars because of my dad and my mom. They've always loved old cars and talked about it. So it's like, I've always liked the design of this car, and it was $1,000, and it was cheap.
Yeah.
And it was reliable. It's fun.
But do you have any memories of the Volvo?
Oh no. Oh no. I do.
What is it about Volvo?
Here's my memories.
They're fucking easy to fix, bud.
They're easy to fix. They're reliable.
They don't bite.
They don't bite.